Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to Edu TV, one of the best TV shows I like to host for Pranav. And every third day we discuss, Pranav, what is the new agenda, and every time he comes up with something new. And he peps me up and I pep him up. That's how we go. We keep creating new things. And we all, I think Rita was saying that we are not familiar with each other. So since I know everyone, so let me just Edu TV.
Sapna?
Yeah. You want to introduce?
No one praises us, so we praise each other.
Yeah, because he is a big support for me.
Okay, actually, I'm at work. I wish I had my earphones on. So I'm hoping everybody is happier in this confinement and safe. And I've been heading school for more than a decade now. And my passion is what I do. So, yeah.
Good.
So that's how me and Pranav get together, because he talks about my passion.
Rita is-
Namaskar, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Pranav, once again for calling on this platform. And in fact, you're doing a wonderful job on such a platform, calling so many education with so many different topics. And I think we are discussing on such topics which are very important in the today's scenario. However, to introduce myself, I'm Dr. Suchitra Bhattacharya. Presently, I'm the principal of Manav Rachna International School. I belong to the Army fraternity, and I am very positive, love my work. Thank you. And it's been really pleasure to see so many of you on the same platform. I am
Ajay.
privileged.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, good to be among so many leaders in their respective fields. And I congratulate all of the principals and teachers for the incredible efforts in the current situation, what you all are putting. I mean, schools just started, I think, within the first week of the lockdown. That was remarkable. And teachers displayed amazing commitment and creativity. So contrary to the initial perception that things are not working online, I think now serious learning is happening online. Thank you and wishes for the good health. I'm Ajay Jain and I head Drishta Virtual Reality, and we are the India's largest virtual reality-based learning platform where we deliver unimaginable experiences to students, like landing on moon. They can dive deep into the ocean, they can travel inside a human cell, or they can see the World War II right in the classroom.
Hi,
Rita?
I'm Rita Singh. Yeah, I'm Rita Singh, Director, Indrapuram Group of Institutions. And yeah, I'm working with few non-government organizations. I'm mentoring few children. I'm running an evening school for underprivileged students and consulting with 3-4 companies. That's it. That's all about me.
That's
And yes,
it.
we are all.
That's it. So after Modi, it is you. That's it. Anupama ji, can we hear from you?
A very good afternoon to all of you. So I think I'm the only one who's representing the southern part of India.
You
So
are always there. So we miss you when you are not there. When DPS Bangalore does not come, so I asked Pranav. Pranav, you're mute. Pranav.
Pranav, you're muted.
Pranav. Yeah.
Ajay,
You're on mute.
can you tell Ritik ji and Abhishek ji to on their cameras? Otherwise, it will become a patch when we have the recording.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
So they come when we come for the introduction. I'll take their class.
yeah. So Anupama Ramachandra, I'm the principal of Delhi Public School, Electronic City in Bangalore. And I have been the founder principal of this institution from the last 6 years. I have worked in various parts of India and also for a school term in the US, because I had this opportunity of being a Fulbright scholar also. So it is always a pleasure to be on Pranav's panel discussion. So he just has to, send me a message saying that you have confirmed, so you attend.
I did it 5 minutes before. Huh?
Yeah, so there's no formalities anymore, because all the topics are so relevant and we are all so passionate about what we do. So it's always a pleasure to be amongst elite panelists like all of you. Thank you very much.
Priyanka.
Good afternoon, and it's nice meeting people after a long time. Hi Rita ma'am, how are you?
Hi, lovely seeing you.
Yeah, so as I agree with everyone here that it's always nice being on a panel with Pranav. So
it's panel with
it's like
on the panel with
uh,
Pranav.
Okay. Pooja ji,
that is
would you like
nice.
to
And
say something? I mean,
Yeah,
Priyanka?
hello everyone and greetings of the day. And it's lovely to see the smiling face of Mr. Guha and of course the radiant face of Dr. Priyanka Mehta. Seeing you after a long time, it's really lovely. And for my introduction, it is that I've also been running and heading a senior secondary school. Apart from that, what I feel is that I've recently started a company called Hop, Skip and Run, which was actually initiated in December 2019, and it was focused on extracurricular and outdoor activities for children after school. And our philosophy was basically to keep them offline and so not being online and spending more time outdoors, getting back to your childhood days and enjoying that outdoors in a structured manner.
Good,
And
good.
unfortunately lockdown has sort of flattened that
No,
progress.
no, it will
But
come back. Don't
looking
say
forward
flatten. It
to
will be okay.
yes so
So
looking
Ritik
forward to
Roshan,
having
can
the
we?
good times back.
Good. Ritik ji, can we hear you? So are you like Ritik Roshan or what are you like? Let us see your face. Or is he not willing to come?
No
Ritik?
problem. Ma'am,
No
he's
problem.
he's from Ajay's team.
Okay. Okay. So welcome all of you. And today's topic is when Pranav gave us, it was really about very close to all of us, what we believe as educators about value system and health and wellness. So when people say that COVID is contagious, so I say, why not? Even value system is contagious, smile is contagious, good, all the good values
Good
are
thing.
contagious. So let us hear from our panelists who are so eminent. And eagerly, I'm waiting to hear from all of you that what is that value system and health in post-COVID era, which very soon it will get over, and maybe we don't know what's going to come next and how effective, or what are you doing in your own capacity and in capacity of your surrounding as well as school. So let's I would request all of you to just speak for at least 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Don't exceed that. And then we'll come to the next question. So starting from Suchitra ji, let's hear what is Faridabad and how are you taking that?
Thank you so much. I think it's going to be a wonderful discussion. However, just to start a little, we know that around 1.3 billion of the world's students are learning remotely, and teachers are on a steep curve when it comes to teaching academic curriculum online. Everyone is generally aware of the same, and this paradigm shift, what has happened was possible because of the resilience from all the sides, from the students, the parents, and the teachers. So it has become an apparent that a stage is now needed where we are not much concerned about the curriculum. Across the globe, the concern is how to teach social, emotional learning in the digital classrooms. More than ever, the mental health of our students, we can say, which is at high risk because of the anxiety about the corona virus that is rising, and the children feeling very isolated, very disconnected, and of course, very confused. So the question is not on the curriculum, like the discussion that we have today is, can we teach students well-being and value system through e-learning? In fact, before I would go to the answer, I would like to say that when we talk of wellness, if I think of this portion of our discussion today, we can say that wellness is health, wellness is nutrition, it is the physical activity, the wellness is general, not to forget the emotional and the psychological needs, from stress management and sleep, health related attitudes, benefits, individual health behaviors, everything comes into it. In fact, we can say that there are 7 dimensions of wellness that is taken into consideration. It can be spiritual, physical, emotional, career, intelligent environment, and also social awareness. So neglect of any will have an adverse effect on the overall health, that we all know. So answer is, frankly speaking, everything is happening through our education that is going on. Today's students, frankly speaking, are grown up as, we can call them, digital natives, and they adapt to learning online. So the online or the virtual mode, frankly speaking, is a worry for us, not for the students. So online learning is not at all a worry for them. Then how is it that it's not happening? We can say that they are missing certain things, definitely. That is, their peer sharing and the playing around is definitely missing. However, other teachers are doing a wonderful job, and there is nothing to worry about what's happening, whether we are dealing with the wellness or not. These days, young people are so proactive using technology that they understand and improve on their own about this wellness also through various forms, like we can say the chat rooms, the well-being apps, social media, support groups, online and psychological forums, besides what is happening in the school. The content of these all covers the empathy, the mindfulness, the acceptance, and also the commitment therapy. So we can say that the cognitive behavior training is happening, where all the teachers and the educationists are constantly guiding the children on sleep hygiene, on impulse control, communication, how to cooperate, and of course, definitely, which is very important, that is the emotional regulation, we can say. So the purpose is basically to reduce the depression, lower the anxiety that children may face, promote fewer sleep problems, because there is the online mode becomes such a habitual thing for the children that we need to understand that that also needs to be guided often. There has to be a definite satisfaction, that is the life satisfaction, and we need to understand that psychological well-being is more important. In fact, both are equally important, but we need to take care that we do not neglect on the psychological well-being of our students. So keeping ourselves physically fit, having good food habits, and of course keeping ourselves a little physically engaged will definitely take care. And I think through the classes we are doing quite a bit. Let me know if I have crossed the time, so I'll just
I'm cutting you short because you have covered the entire essence. There are 6 more. So let's see what others have to say. We'll come back to the new education policy. We'll discuss in the second round. So anybody wants to cover new education policy, we'll go to the second round. Ajay, I'll come back to you later. Let me just hear from the educationists what they want to say. So Rita, let's hear what are you doing with this bouquet of duties which you are performing nowadays.
Yeah, I would come first sum up what Dr. Suchitra said. I think I totally resonate with what she said, and I totally believe that wellness, I think wellness itself encompasses or encapsulate the entire topic that you talked about, whether it's physical health or whatever. I think it's not just the absence of illness that we talk about. It is also, I would define it as the active pursuit of activities, choices, whatever lifestyle you have adopted that leads you to a state of holistic health. And when we talk about holistic health, rightly brought out by Dr. Suchitra, physical, mental, emotional, social, we can have so many things. People also talk about environmental health, because they say you don't want to be in an environment which is unhealthy for you. Likewise, you're also aware of your role that which you play in bettering rather than denigrating the natural environment. So whole lot of the entire being of yours, the entire holistic health of yours, if you're a healthy person, you and your environment and people around you are healthier, and your relationships are healthy, your physical being is healthy. So that's what is very important, and that is what we probably went wrong in last few years in not just parenting our own children, but probably grooming our children in schools. I think we should take that blame on us. Till we do not identify the challenges, till we do not identify what went wrong, we will probably not really try to better it. And Why do you want me to talk about what I do? I mean, you really want me to talk about that?
No,
Sapna?
a little bit. We just see, want to hear from every perspective.
Okay,
Since you
I
are,
get you.
since
Get
you are
you.
managing different domains as a consultant, as an NGO, as a
Yeah.
school leader,
Yeah.
and we are doing together a lot of things. So we just want to know, like, we want to cover
get
all
it.
perspectives. So she's
I
covered the
get it.
school perspective.
Yeah.
So anything from other
So I
perspectives.
will not really touch, though I am a group of institutions which has got 9 institutions, 3 colleges and 6 schools. And these 6 schools, I joined this group as a principal of one of them about 12, 13 years ago. The school that I'm talking about
And
also
we go that long, I suppose.
Yeah, Sapna is a dear friend. And we do go back very long. I mean, I think we first met at British Council. So in this particular role of principalship and then having an evening school, how did I connect the both the things? That is what probably I'll talk about. And one of the major achievement of mine, which got me national award also last year, was probably this particular aspect. I ran an evening school for street children in the evening, and that is my own NGO. But being a principal of the same school where where these evening classes are running, I was very apprehensive in asking for help from the teachers, because it's very easy to get work done when you are on a chair. So I was trying to run this with, of course, paid teachers from somewhere. But what I did, and how did I connect my morning school or my work as a principal of one big senior secondary school versus this evening school, whenever there was any reprimand or whenever there was a call for, in conventional school, probably we would have a suspension letter given or things like that, we always had our reprimand or so-called detention happening in these centers. Nobody would know. The caretaker, the coordinator of evening school would know that I'm sending 9th B, this particular child, 3 days of service in this evening school. She would know, I would know, the parent would know, and the child would know. And child would be told that, okay, fine, something wrong happened, so we need to pay back to the society. How do we do that? So this child would be sent to the evening school to teach those children in the evening. And 3 days with these children, and I would say you don't have to feel embarrassed, because just I know, your parent knows. Not even the evening school coordinator knows. She would know that you have come here to provide your services. And within 10 minutes or 15 minutes of being there as a, what do I say, as a person who has committed something wrong, that guy would flourish, that child would flourish, and he would get integrated. And after 3 days of service, he would come out as a very different person. This was my way of bringing in wellness, mental wellness into my children's mind, who probably detoured or probably lost out and went little haywire while they were leading their life. So this particular, just small action of mine of all policy change in my school setup, it really yielded benefit to my children.
Great, great.
Thank
So
you.
I also go a long way when we do Sparsh. I did the same thing. Let's welcome Alka ji. Alka Kapoor, good evening and welcome. We were missing you. And please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
So, namaskar.
Hi Alka, how are you? So yesterday only, last night we were discussing you, and congratulations for the world record which you're making.
Oh, thank you so much. We've already made. We've already made.
Yeah, I'll be coming to be with you for that, and we'll be discussing after this about that.
And I see my lovely friends here. It's such a pleasure.
So can you just introduce yourself?
Hi.
Or maybe everyone knows, who doesn't know Alka Kapoor?
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thanks for such kind words. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I find her like, I always admire her for the jewelry and whatever
Oh
she
my
speaks.
God.
Can you just introduce yourself, Alka?
I've got other better attributes to my personality.
No, there are many more things. For that, I have to come and meet you more often. Whenever I've met you, I've just kept admiring you, and I
My
pass by.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Sapna. Yeah.
So please introduce yourself for a minute, if maybe Ajay ji doesn't know you. So
Okay,
you should
okay.
also know the
Yeah, sure. So namaskar everyone, and I'm Alka Kapoor, principal at Modern Public School, Shalimar Bagh, Delhi. And it's a pleasure to be with you on this platform. And thank you, Pranav and Tanya, for reaching out to me and co-creating such a beautiful space where we are able to deliberate excellent, I think, ideas. And it's always going to be a take back home and pleasure today that we have eminent speakers like my friend Anuradha, Rita, Sapna, of course, Deepika, and Suchitra. And it's going to be a learning experience for me, I'm
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Alka.
much.
Priyanka, another beautiful, all are so beautiful actually, and with this lockdown, you're really glowing and shining each day when I see your pictures on the camera. So Priyanka, what would you like to, because I keep seeing your post on Sarvottam School, and little bit apart from school, what do you say about public, about health policies and mental well-being? Would you
Thank
like
you
to
so
highlight
much.
something else?
Thank you so much.
Hi, Priyanka, I'm sorry I missed out on you because I really couldn't see you on the screen. I'm so sorry.
Hi, that's
How
fine.
did I miss such a lovely, charming face? Sorry.
Thank you so much. You all have made my day for the rest of the, I think, the time that I'm going to be there. So, uh, what I feel is that the entire concept of mental health has come to the fore more now because we are dealing with a lot of challenges that are beyond curriculum, that are beyond what we thought was school all about, and the very fact that that the curriculum is one part of what children have to learn is, I think, most understood now because we are all looking at empowering our children with skills. So these skills that we talk about are directly related to the mental well-being and the physical well-being, where we understand with what Suchitra has rightly said, and I won't repeat that yes, this entire wellness concept is interconnected and we can't ignore any part of it. What we need to also understand is that I especially feel concerned about the mental well-being of child being affected by what's happening at home, what is being discussed at home, especially if the child has certain special needs. And I think we are not talking enough about that. So I am particularly concerned with a couple of students, and we've had some great experiences connecting with them because it was a greater challenge for us to connect with children with certain special needs when we couldn't meet them. For them, coming to school, spending energy was the most important part. And now the child being home with the parent around 24/7, it was a challenge for us to connect. And so the small spaces that we created for these children, the learning modules that we created, the one-to-one that we went was a great experience. And I think I have learned blended learning much better now with these children than any time before. So that's a huge learning for us, the differentiated teaching that has come in, the meaning of flip in actuals that we are doing. I think everything has given us the time to work on the mental well-being of the child, where we're not just connected about the little course that we're doing, but we can take it beyond, something that we all felt we didn't have time enough. So now a lot has been, I think, we've been discussing it. And I'm very happy that this contagion of the good things happening, the corona, getting into the corona in Hindi. I like that term that was coined by one of my teachers. So from corona, she converted into Karona. So Karo and -NA. That entire feeling of being connected is huge. So I think this gives us a lot of opportunity to understand what's happening at home and how we can take it further.
So Priyanka, coming to your special need, what you said. So after that, maybe I can give you certain more, we can discuss that because I took 2 webinars of parents with special needs, and really we came out with a lot of solutions. So I can discuss with you later.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Maybe I can just, we can just share some common things.
Always.
Deepika, so Deepika has been heading the school, and she's just right now also in the school. So what makes you think that wellness and health, what is that new thing which you're going to develop? Because if now we come to the new education policy also, because there is nothing which is mentioned about sports in new education policy. So what do you think, and how do you think that this move will, how will you juggle between, what is your opinion about all this?
So thanks, Sapna. You are actually touching upon my favorite part of the thing. So I feel, when our children are healthy, they achieve. In fact, a healthy lifestyle is a bedrock of successes, And what actually is my concern is the number of clinical depressions happening, especially 12 years onwards, you know, and that's a matter of concern. I feel education will be more relevant if we are able to work on the socio-emotional domain of it, you know. I don't know if we actually have it in the curriculum. Even if it was there, it was never taken seriously. But I feel it's high time we do it, because the volume of our youth is enormous, you know, and we need to harness this youth dividend. We can only do it well if our children and our youth is healthy. And mental health is extremely important. You know, when the world has moved from IQ to EQ to SQ to now adversity quotient, we still are lingering on IQ and we are still stuck with scores. So I feel social health, mental health is something which is we really need to work on. And for that, like one of the eminent panelists said, sports is important, nutrition is important. So sports at the moment, I feel, yes, we are confined. Like you yourself said, you're confined, you don't want to come out. Think of the children for whom the school was more than just a formal structure of learning. It was also a place to interact socially. Now they're young and they're confined for months. Okay. So I feel, well, we have had, again, like Priyanka also said, and the other panelists also, you know, technically the entire education system has been rebooted. But it's technically, the core of the system still stays the same and needs a lot of improvement. Yes, we have more flipped classes with differentiated learning. Yes, that's a good part of it. But the core still stays the same, and which really needs that we should bring out the best in it. So, I mean, if you want to help in striving the optimal well-being, sports has to be managed in a big way. If that could be like possibly having more physical spaces for them to do, for the children to really work on it. We need to have some vendors and I'm sorry, services, in fact, you know, expert services like counseling, for example. I don't see many of the students really reaching out to the counselors. And I'm not talking about the few schools that we take care of. I'm talking about in general. Okay, I don't see many students connecting to a lot of people. So there's really a need to move out of it. And sports, well, online sports confined in a room, yes, that is happening. You know, we're having yoga sessions, we're having them to meditate, we're having some kind of on the spot walking and everything. But you know, post-COVID era, I think we need to take this much more seriously. Besides the nutrition, physical is extremely, extremely important. And it's going to help us in mental health. It is going to help us in emotional health. It's going to help in spiritual health.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Sapna.
Thank you, Deepika. So, Anupama ji, like in Bangalore, we are seeing cases being risen day by day. And when I talk to friends in Bangalore, so it's like something like Delhi only. So if we talk about health and value system, so how do you connect it with the elderly people? Because in schools, what is your take about, can you highlight that aspect? Because that has not come till yet. Like,
I did not.
Like health and wellness with schools and elderly people, how are you connecting? Because everybody is confined at home and everybody is staying together. So office and home and elders and younger, everybody is together. So what do you suggest and what is your takeaway on that about value system and health and fitness when it comes to that family?
Yeah. So a very good afternoon to all of you once again. So I think that is a very pertinent question that all of us can look into, especially during these difficult times and unique times. So overall, what I feel is that this pandemic has actually done a little good also to the nation and of course to the world at large. When we look at the health of the younger and the older generation, we have seen over the months that due to the students being homebound or living with their parents and grandparents, for such a long period of time, which probably did not happen in the last few decades, we have started noticing that children have started evolving into responsible people who are taking care of their health. In the earlier months, like March and April, we were actually telling children and advising parents, we were sending tips how to take care of themselves, how to connect with their elders. But now we are getting to hear a lot of positive stories from homes. So to begin with, I can start off with the physiological health, which is most important. We see that both the generations, the younger and the older, have become more conscious of their personal hygiene, which should be. They eat right, they sleep well and adequately, and both the generations are managing the entire day with activities that focuses on their physiological well-being. We have reports and videos being shared where our student is exercising with their grandparent, they're doing yoga with them, they're doing aerobics with their mother, they are doing cycling with their father, they are watering the plants with the grandfather. So we see that there is a lot of connect between both the generations in the upkeeping or the maintenance of their physiological health. Now coming to social health, children have learned how to collaborate. We have always been harping about how there's a generation gap. But over these months, grandparents are telling us that we really don't know what you're talking about because we are all living so cohesively. We are all able to respect each other's space. We are able to respect each other's time, giving them privacy when they need it, sitting together when it is required. So I see a lot of collaboration which is happening, and there's a lot of communication. What could be better to take care of the social health of the elderly also, because children are sitting and listening to their grandparents. You know, they're pulling out old pictures and asking, when was this picture taken, and what were you doing here, why were you dressed like this, and who's this in this picture? So there is a lot of conversations happening between the older generation and the younger generation. And this has also this is also true because of the online classes also. Children are engaged with online classes for a period of time. And the change that they are looking forward to is sitting down with their parents and grandparents and having conversations.
Thank you
so much. Yes, and emotionally they are becoming self-reliant. They know how to manage themselves now. They know how to manage their anxieties, their confusions, their traumas, their happiness with minimal help. They're not reaching out always to people. And lastly, of course, this period has brought in a lot of wellness in with respect to the development of 21st century skills also. Children are becoming responsible users of digital platforms. They are developing critical thinking, and they're, of course, they are developing a stronger sense of responsibility. So in a capsule, I can say that this period has nurtured a lot of thought process into well-being, not only physically, but emotionally and socially also. And not only the younger generation, but also with the older generation also. Thank you all for the patient hearing.
Thank you, Anupama ji. Ajit ji, are you there? Would you like to add something about how your company is going to help schools in taking this forward in 4 minutes? Like they have, there are 2 more panelists who are left to add to it, or would you like to add after that?
I think I can add something here. What Anupama ma'am was describing, it looked like a very positive picture of the otherwise huge corona challenge what all of us are facing. So here I'd like to just add a small thing, a small detail about blue zones. I think the value system, health and wellness, what we are talking about here in today's discussion, it cannot be emphasized. The importance of all these 3 cannot be emphasized more than what we see in blue zones. These blue zones actually are the places on our planet where people live like in fairy tales. They not only live much younger, but they live much healthier. And these blue zones are like, we have one in Italy, there is one in Costa Rica, and there's one is in Okinawa, Japan. So this Okinawa, this was actually destroyed, completely destroyed in World War II. And today it holds record for longevity. People with 90 and 100 years of age, they live like persons who are 30 years younger than their age. And the secret is their value system, health and wellness practices. In Okinawa, they take care of each other, like the ma'am was telling. They respect elders, they spend time with elders, and they link socially and connect to the environment. They have a positive attitude towards life. And as a consequence, they have extremely low level of stress, which helps in longevity. And most of them, they practice like karate, tai chi, which is a type of yoga. They do dancing, they walk daily several kilometers, which helps in their wellness and health. Also, diet control is a cultural habit there, which is called as a hara hachibu. Hara hachibu is a Confucius teaching, which tells you to eat only till you are 80% full. Like you are not eating that I am full. You get a rasgulla and you say, oh no, I cannot eat it, I am full. It is like I am no longer hungry. So this 80% full, it helps them in keeping their BMIs low. The general average BMIs in Okinawa is about 18-20, which is the most healthy BMIs, we'll all agree. So the hara hachibu, how we can implement in our daily practice, it can be like you eat more slowly so that you do not overeat. You focus on the food. The challenge right now nowadays is we are spending time watching TV and then eating. But there they just eat when they are eating. So which creates a difference. And then they use small vessels. So these are the things. Small vessels, small plates, small glasses. So psychologically you feel that you have eaten actually, because the small vessel will feel full. So though you will eat less, but you will feel that now you have eaten more. So these are the things, these are the concepts, I think, which can help us everywhere, not only there. Because if I talk about these blue zones, which are very, very impressive, and a lot of scientists and researchers are now study why these specific 3-4 areas in the entire world, people are living so long, so healthy lives. And scientists have found out that despite these places being geographically different, culturally different, but there are few things which connect all of them together. And these things are, they all indulge in low intensity physical activity as part of their daily routine. They build good relationships within friends, with family. They eat a plant-based diet, and they find a purpose of life. So like the challenge is what students are facing today. I will say that they are obsessed with internet. Sometimes so many students, I mean, there are different types, but the judicious use of internet, I think, is missing somewhere. Then fast food is another challenge. Fast results. Student will send maybe in WhatsApp for our generation. Now they are on Instagram. So they will send message and they will immediately want the reply back. And I remember that my grandfather, he used to send me one letter a month. So I will patiently be waiting for that next month when my next letter will come. But now every second they are on the mobile and they are checking now he has seen the message. Now he'll reply the message. He has not replied the message. So these kind of things, these actually develop anger, stress, and students are like, they're not able to manage these kind of things, which are very, very important skills. Like ma'am said, Deepika ma'am said that it is very important to manage the wellness, manage the mental skills, and which somewhere is missing. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to create, we have a vision where we can have a blue zone in every student. So he's aware of that, yeah, this is my value system. These are the skills, these are the practices which are required in my daily routine as part of my health and wellness. And this student is part of the family, and that family is part of the society. So this blue zone, why just have 4 places when we know these are so super valuable? Why not have these everywhere? So that is the vision what we are taking and trying to inculcate value system, health and wellness skills in every student so that they can be prepared for skills needed to
Thank
excel
you.
in 21st century. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I resonate with your whatever you're saying because I had an opportunity to be in Japan for 21 days. And I also add to that that their onsen bath, which they take as a community bath, is something to learn. And there are a lot of things which we can learn from Japanese, because after visiting also so many countries, I still want to go back to Japan and learn more things. So I completely agree with you. Pooja ji, and we have Alka ji left. So Pooja, would you like to add something about, we have covered most of the things. So anything related to your things which you're
Sure.
doing, and you're saying that you're locked down and you're not able to do it. So how do you take it forward from
Yeah,
there?
definitely. It's just that when you come so late in the list, you know, almost everything has been covered. But
No, no, you're not
ideally,
coming late. I told you
no,
your
it's okay.
the what you're running
No,
is
no,
not.
on a lighter note, take it as
Yeah.
a lighter note. So ideally, I feel that you know, everything health and wellness actually revolves around being you know, positive. If you are a positive person and if you are able to give that value system to your child or people at home, that they need to stay positive in any situation. You know, enjoy the moment, enjoy the present. I think most of our troubles and our you know, apprehensions are taken care of. So that is one thing that I feel that we need to inculcate, that idea of positivity, that idea of gratitude, that, you know, whatever we have, we need to be happy with that. And also, you know, to feel full, like, you know, and to be thankful for whatever we have. Having done that, to actually, but, you know, I have always been a strong advocate of anti-online situations. As I said earlier, unfortunately, things have taken us online and we are so dependent on it. So much so that my daughter, who was only allowed half an hour of online activity, is now even learning Kathak through online mode. But then, you know, in our school, we have sort of planned a system where, of course, we are doing things like this on Zoom or on Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, as well as we are recording oral messages so that, you know, they can relax their eyes, but listen to the teacher to understand it. Also, you know, we are approaching them with that sense that they should hear. They should have the ability to listen and comprehend, as we do in English language, we do ASL. So that becomes a part of our course. And of course, teaching through teacher-made videos, that they are just going to make small videos so that the screen time is reduced to a lot more. So that is one thing that we're doing. Apart from that, I feel, which most schools are very heavy on, and I do regret it, is the assessment system. I have seen my colleagues and the fellow schools being very high on online assessment, and, you know, trying to assess children formally in some mode or the other, but obviously being online. I feel that this is one opportunity that we should not right now, you know, be very, very you know, proactive about, because we still have about, say, a small percentage of parents who do not understand that, you know, they are going to just tell the child, chalo chalo ye answer likh lete hain, chalo jaldi se isko fill kar dete hain. And then your value system is all, you know, whatever you have been teaching in school, whatever you have been trying, the idea of honesty, the idea of being you know, true to yourself, it just falls flat. So that is one thing that we have decided proactively, that we are not going to do any formal assessments. Yes, there are assessments to assess our learning outcomes. We are doing it in a very informal manner, through discussions or maybe small Google forms. But yes, we are waiting for formal assessments when we actually meet them back in school. So these are the few things that we have taken up.
Wow. So I really like the idea about formal assessments and being banned, and only Google forms and just different activities you're doing assessment. That's something very different, and which I've been advocating and you've been practicing. That's something. So Alka, now where are you? I can't see you first of all, Alka.
She's not there.
I think she's left. She'll again come back. Alka is not there. So she'll again come back. She has this. So when she comes back, I'll take her. So now, what I would like all of you to, like, there are such beautiful points which have come up, 7 dimensions. Rita spoke about her NGO. Then Priyanka spoke about special needs. Deepika spoke about emotional quotient, social quotient, and sports. The entire system should be rebooted. Suchitra ji spoke about 7 dimensions. Anupama spoke about the homebound children and how grandparents and parents should be looking after each other. Ajay ji spoke about the new zones and the Costa Rica and Okinawa and Hara Hachibu, which we all should practice now. And we should see what Japan is doing and replicate something. Priyanka, we've done. So Pooja spoke about the informal, the formal assessments which she's not doing and how her school